Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. WildMax1 here, bringing you another Raid Shadow Legends video. Raid Shadow Legends is an incredible game with a lot of content, and it's easy to make mistakes that are going to slow down your progress. Today, I'm going to be going over 5 huge mistakes that I see both newer and more experienced players making, and more importantly, how you can avoid them. By fixing these, you're going to ensure that your account is way stronger in the long run. So let's get into it. So one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen players make is sacrificing epic and rare champions just to level up others. Now I get it, especially early on, sacrificing champions and dumping them into food in order to upgrade your main team that is pursuing some specific piece of content that you're going for is going to be really tempting. So if you're hyper-focused on clan boss and you have rare and epic champions that you've outgrown, you could potentially use them to upgrade your existing champions because it's going to be faster and easier, and you don't think there's potentially even a use for those anymore. Here's why that could be a mistake down the line for you and why you should avoid that. First, epic and rare champions are going to be useful in a lot of game modes. One that I specifically would like to highlight is Cursed City. So a lot of fantastic rewards come out of Cursed City. One of the best damage dealing sets in the game, Merciless, comes exclusively from Cursed City. So there are a few stages here that are completely locked based on conditions that are set for what teams you're allowed to use. So for example, right now in this run of Cursed City, stage S7, I would have to pick only 4 affinity champions that are either rare or epic. If I had sacrificed all of my rare and epic champions of that affinity, I wouldn't even have a chance to give this a shot. Another mode that rare and epic champions can shine in is Siege. Now, if your clan hasn't progressed to that yet, no big deal, but down the line, again, might be very useful for you. Siege, you can also set conditional defense teams of all rare or all epic champions, and if other players haven't saved theirs, that's pretty much a roadblock for them. Another place that I would call out their use in is Faction Wars. In Faction Wars, if you still have any of the factions that you're still trying to fully max out in order to get your hands on Lydia, I would say hold on. Hold on to those rares and epics. Second reason why you shouldn't just sacrifice epics specifically is empowerment. Now, empowerment, again, you use epics, sacrifice them for an epic of the same type. So, for example, here we have Tulf. I could sacrifice 2 other Tulfs in order to give this one all these bonuses, and I could sacrifice even 2 more, so you can up to +4 a champion. And these stats are potentially game-changing. It could push this champion from irrelevance to relevance for your account pretty quickly. So it's something you should consider. And finally, and this is the third point, Faction Guardians. Faction Guardians, much like your Great Hall, is just a passive boost to your account. So as long as you have these slots filled, you're getting all of these bonuses for champs of this rarity in this faction. And there are a lot of factions to go for. And in my opinion, it's going to be really important because of the relevance of epics down the line for you to make sure that you fill out all of your faction wars. So if you're unsure about a rare epic champion and you're considering sacrificing them, I encourage you strongly to go online, take a look, see if there's any game modes that they excel in, and ultimately, if you're unsure, just vault them. Another major mistake that I see a lot of players making is spending their resources too soon instead of saving them up for fusion events and tournaments. This can lead to missing out on some really powerful champions if you're unable to complete those fusions. Now, fusions are run every few weeks, and there's usually a lot of events that Raid will throw at you because they're trying to get you to spend some of your resources prior to those fusions. So, for example, right now in the game, we have a progressive chance event. This is one of the favorites. So you'll end up seeing a lot of really powerful champions that you could put in as a progressive chance. Newt, Freya, Feral in this case, right? And it's going to tempt you, especially if you really need that specific champ, but the chances are low that you're going to get those. So you're better off probably to take your resources and save them for that fusion that's going to be coming up. If you plan accordingly, especially using the Plarium calendar that they put out prior to a fusion, you can look and make sure that you have the exact number of resources that you're going to need, including silver, gems, and even shards. Yes, even shards I'm including as a resource in this because there could be summon rush events where every shard is ascribed a certain point value that you're going to need to complete that summon rush. It's a really difficult thing to do because it requires some discipline, but it's something that's going to really benefit your account in the long run. Now, depending where you're at in the game, it may not even be feasible for you to attempt that fusion, right? If you're still really early on and you're still going through that really early game progression, then you may not have the resources available for it, and that's fine. What you can still do is, let's say you're about to progress in a particular piece of content and you know you're going to be upgrading your gear, and instead of just going and doing it, what you can do is you can wait for example, a gear enhancement event to come out. And that way you're going to be upgrading your gear and being doubly rewarded for it by getting, timing it at the right moment. You're going to be getting potentially shards or extra silver, gems, other things that can help you progress your account. So the point here is, regardless of whatever you're going to be going for, make sure that your resources are being spent at the right times. Now, the next mistake that I'm hoping you're going to avoid is involving shard pulling. Now, I absolutely get it. It's arguably the most exciting part of the game, right? Like, every shard is potentially that new champ you've been waiting for so long. And I absolutely get it. And while I do suggest you do save some shards as a strategic reserve for fusions and certain events, I completely understand, especially early on in the game, if you need to, increase your champ pool in order to progress further in the game. So if you're going to do that, and if you're going to pull shards, make sure that you are maximizing the chance that you get to pull legendaries and mythicals potentially, right? And that comes by making sure that you wait for events that boost the chances or the probability that you're going to pull one of those. So there is a summoning chance for legendaries for every different shard, and over here for mythicals. So Raid will sometimes run 2x events. So for sacreds, they'll double the chances of a legendary. For ancient shards, they'll double the chances of an epic and legendary. For voids, they'll do the same. For primals, sometimes you'll see mythical alone, or sometimes you'll just see epic and legendary alone. Regardless of which one of those you choose, I do recommend 2x events for earlier game. 1+1s are also really good if you know that you're close to the mercy for that particular shard. So for those of you that don't know the mercy system, the game does feel bad a little bit if you haven't summoned a legendary champion or a mythical champion, depending on what you're pulling, within a certain amount of pulls. So for ancients and voids, it's 200 summons, 200 shards that you have to pull, and then after that, the 201st shard is going to have a 5% increased chance, and it's going to keep going like that until you finally hit. So it's going to go to 5.5%, 10.5, whatever, if you're pulling outside of a boosted chance. So if you know you're close to a mercy for ancients, like let's say I was within 30 of a mercy for ancients, and a 1+1 event comes by, which is when as soon as you pull one legendary, you get another one for free, random. I know that I'd be pulling for that event if I needed more champs in my pool and I wanted just a shot at something really great that's going to potentially carry my account. If I am not close to mercy and I'm early in the game, I'm going for 2x events. Again, it really depends, but the main takeaway here is make sure that you are pulling only at boosted chance events. So arguably one of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of players make in Raid Shadow Legends is wasting silver on bad gear. Silver is one of the most important resources in the game. You use it pretty much for everything upgrade related, and if you're not careful, you can very quickly end up burning through your reserves, upgrading gear that's just not worth it in the long run. As a general rule, I would say avoid upgrading green or uncommon and common. So the gray and green, don't even bother upgrading it. Blue, if it's got perfect substats and you needed to complete a set, probably I'd consider it if I was earlier game. Generally, try to stick to epics and above with good substats. Another thing to consider is flat versus percent. if you're looking at gloves, chest, or boots, and you're going to be considering either defense, HP, or attack for a champion, always make sure you're going for the percent stat. So in this case, Cheshire Cat has about 1,500 attack. And if I'm looking to give him either a attack or flat stat piece, let's just check to see what this would look like. So, okay, let me make sure you can see that. Okay, so here we have a flat stat piece with 170 attack. Fully upgraded, this would be 265. For a attack percentage piece, you get 60% of the 1,500, which is right around 900 for that piece. So that's a significant difference. So if you are going to be upgrading gear, make sure you're doing it with the right gear. Now, the only time that I would say where it's okay to end up upgrading a flat stat piece is if you have a champ where you're trying to complete a 9-piece set. So here we have Mikage, and I do end up having a percentage stat piece on there, but if this was flat stat defense or even attack flat stat, and it made the difference between me having a 9-piece or not, I would definitely go with the 9-piece for that. It really just depends, but for the most part, make sure you're making smart choices with your silver when it comes to upgrading your gear. And finally, one of the biggest traps that I see a lot of players fall into is not having a clear goal in mind for their account. Raid is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So having focused progression goals goes a long way towards account success. Without that, you can end up wasting resources, building the wrong champs, and just having a way slower progression than without it. So what do I mean by having a focused goal? It can be anything from as simple as, okay, I want to make sure that I can 1-key Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. Or it can be, I want to make sure that I'm getting Mithrala from Hydra. Or it can be, I want to finish Faction Wars, and I want to grab Lydia for my account. I want to get that champ. Anytime that you decide to upgrade a champ, a piece of gear, anything, you should always be asking yourself, does this help me reach my current goal? Whatever that may be in the content that you're currently pursuing. If you do that, if you focus all of your resources that you have on achieving one goal instead of spreading them out and wasting them, I guarantee you're going to be more likely to achieve it, and you're going to be able to do it much quicker. Avoiding these mistakes will set you up for success and make your Raid Shadow Legends journey way smoother. Let me know down in the comments if there's any mistakes that you made when you first started playing, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Raid content. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.